The original idea was a coming of age about a woman becoming a Jedi Knight. This woman had a few names. Thea, Winky, and Taryn were all considered, but the core didn't change over time. Much like Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi, Luke is an outcast after tragedy struck him and the Jedi Order. It'd be more fairy tale-like in nature, featuring midi-chlorians and wills, a concept George made up early on in his writing of the original Star Wars film. Wills are basically force germs that use us as vessels for the Force to control. George was going to do away with stormtroopers, though, with a concept art showing perhaps a more contained story than the galaxy-wide adventures of the prequels or the original trilogy. This trilogy, being the sequel trilogy, would have followed Anakin's grandchildren since, it's the Skywalker saga. George likened this film to the Iraq War, where rather than large-scale conflicts, the Republic's new problem is terrorism and small-pocket militias trying to disrupt the peace following the destruction of their armies during the original series, with the New Republic basically fighting an inverted version of their former rebellion when the Empire was in power. Darth Maul, who was revived in the Clone Wars, would have been the main villain of the film, taking over for the Emperor basically, and being this old, decrepit, powerful in the Force monster man. It's worth noting George Lucas's draft, like the final film, would ignore the wider extended universe for the most part, and the way George Lucas talked about Darth Maul in this potential version of Episode 7, it is possible they may have also ignored the Clone Wars TV show as well, although we don't know that for sure. Darth Talon was supposed to be Maul's Padawan, which is a character pulled from the Dark Horse comic Star Wars Legacy, though that comic takes place in the far future of Star Wars, beyond even this potential film by around 100 years, so it's likely he just thought the female Twi'lek Sith Lord idea was cool and kind of pulled it into this. Darth Maul and Talon ended up taking over the crime syndicates rather than the whole Empire in this trilogy, since there wasn't much of a formal Empire in the trilogy. This aspect would be reused in Solo: A Star Wars Story with Maul heading Crimson Dawn.
Bring the ship and come to me on Dathomir, and you and I will then decide what to do about the traitor Beckett.
Anyhow, by the end of the trilogy, Luke was supposed to have some level of the Jedi organization restored, with Leia taking over as Supreme Chancellor, running the whole New Republic, which presumably is happy and safe. It is a little weird that Leia becomes the Supreme Chancellor in charge of everything, as Lucas says, since that absolute control seems like what the whole series is fighting against.
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.